everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout to share for Simple Stories. I'm using the Good Stuff collection, which is brand new and just hitting retailers now, and I have really loved working with this collection so far. This is the second layout I've made, it's the Good Stuff collection is a really lovely collection that is designed to be fairly generic and document everyday life. I'm using one of the B sides of the papers here, this one here, kraft background with multicolored circles, big circles all over it. I'm always drawn to circles, I really like them. Funnily enough, big circles used to be my complete nemesis, but actually now I love them. So I've just torn off a large piece to go on the left-hand side of the layout. I have a photo of me and my children at Disney's Animal Kingdom, which is a recent trip that we took. I am going to put that photo into one of the lovely chipboard frames. I really like these chipboard frames that Simple Stories do for most of their collections. I really like them. They create a really good focal point for the layout, don't they? They're good for framing photos, obviously, but they're also good for other things too, like creating shaker pockets and to just create features and be layers on your layout. So I'm a big fan. So my photo was just slightly too small for the frame. So what I did was I backed the frame with white card, and then I trimmed my photo a little bit further to remove the white border, because I had some white borders on the photo already. So I removed those, and then I managed to stick it completely in the middle of the frame, so that I had a white border all the way around the edge that was even though it didn't fit the frame. Does that make sense? So it was a good hack that definitely worked well, and definitely a good tip there. If your photo doesn't quite fit, if it's slightly too small, don't worry, you can back it with white and then your photo will have the perfect white border. So definitely something to try there. From the rest of that sheet of paper, which I love so much, I just love the colour scheme of the pink, the black and white, the blue and orange. I just really thought that colour scheme was lovely. From that, the remainder of that paper, I have cut out some circles, and I have cut them by hand. I could use the circle punch, but I wanted them to be slightly wonky because they are slightly wonky. They kind of remind me of bubbles, where they're not exactly perfect when they're moving around. Anyway. I kept them in their wonky state, I'm going to distress the edges of all of those and get them stuck in place. I started off with quite a lot. I always get a bit carried away and think that I'll use loads, but actually sometimes less is more. And what I ended up doing was removing a lot of those circles that you see on the right hand side and making a feature out of a few of them by doing some stitching. Okay, so I have moved on slightly now, and you can see that I have removed a lot of the original circles that I had there, and I've stuck all of the rest in place. Some are on the edges and some are just floating around. And then the ones that are floating, I am going to turn into little fireworks. The way I've done that is I have pierced a hole in the middle of the circle, and then I've pierced lots of holes around the outside edge of the circle. So I wanted and then I'm going to long stitch from the middle out towards each one. Now they're kind of like little fireworks or pinwheels. They're quite pretty. I like them. I say they remind me of fireworks. But funnily enough, once I'd stitched them all, they then reminded me of viruses. I think that's a sign of the times that we live in today, right? But it's actually quite apt, because when we went to Disney, the 2 days later, my two children tested positive for COVID. So we assumed that we picked it up while we were there, but luckily no one had any symptoms, and we just had to isolate for a while, and that was that. It was all fine. It all didn't really feel very real, because say no one has any symptoms and no one else got it, so we were really lucky. I hope you like my viruses that are not viruses, they're fireworks. Starbursts or, explosions of fun, that kind of thing. That's what I was kind of thinking of, because we did have a great time. So this photo is of us at Disney Animal Kingdom, and we are in Pandora, the Avatar world, when this photo was taken. Not that you can really see anything in the photo, because it's just the three of us fill the frame. My journaling writes a little bit about how awesome that world was. Okay, so I have my viruses or my fireworks all completely stitched. I have my photo in place. I've actually cut the journaling card from one of the pattern papers and just angled that behind the chipboard frame. I've also added the words "oh yeah" from the phrase stickers, foam phrase stickers, and I've put that in the bottom right corner of the frame, so it kind of oversits the frame as well as the layout too. I've also put a little hand peace sign above the words "oh yeah." On the left, I'm adding some ephemera pieces. At the top, I've added some ephemera flowers. So I'm having lots of fun with the bits and pieces ephemera here, like the rainbow, good times. I've got coffee and ice cream, because me and my husband drank coffee that day and the kids ate ice cream that day. Every time we got a coffee, they got an ice cream. So those two little emblems work really well for us, for this photo. I loved that word "yes" as well, because we had such good fun. So I'm just continuing to kind of build up the embellishment layers around the photo, and I'm working on a vertical line, because I have that vertical torn line of the paper. I'm working at keeping most of my embellishments clustered around the photo in the frame. And then over on the right hand side, I will put a few details, but I will keep it fairly minimal compared to what I have over on the left. I'm just dressing the edges of all the ephemera pieces. I definitely haven't done the flowers, but things like the rainbow I've done, good times I've done. So just to make everything look a bit more 3D. And then I raise them on foam pads too, so that also helps there too. Adding some chipboard now. So I've added the word "smile." That's like a little speech bubble. I've added that at the top. On the left, I'm moving over to the right hand side now. I've pulled out the decorative brads. Now, I love decorative brads. They're one of my favorite embellishments. They just give a whole different texture, and they have that shine on as well. I always think they're a really nice addition, and they always have great phrases and icons on. Anything by Simple Stories does, to be honest, but I particularly like the brads. So I'm just putting a few of those in place and coming in with some enamel dots as well, and adding those dotted around too. But then once I've got them all stuck in place, then I want to add some labels from the 12 by 12 stickers, because I really love the labels. They always have such great phrases on them. But then I realised that I'd stuck the decorative brads in the middle of those circles, and therefore that made it really awkward as to where to put the label stickers. So I just put them on top to start off with, but then really didn't like them. So I'm just peeling them off again. And I'm also going to peel off the decorative brads that I've already stuck in place, and then I can layer my labels in the middle of the circle, and the little decorative brad can go one side. So that's what I did at the bottom one. I'm going to do exactly the same at the top too. It just was more aesthetically pleasing that way, rather than have the brad in the middle taking up all that space. So that's looking good. I'm happy with how that looks. The phrases I've used on those circles are "this happened," "one big adventure," "pure happiness," and "this makes me giddy." So definitely lovely, lots and lots of lovely phrase stickers in this collection. I love it. It's so generic. You could be used for literally anything, everyday life, and more interesting things as well. Like this is a trip to Disney, so that works too. The really themed Disney papers don't work really for Animal Kingdom, so I think and we're not dressed at all Disney, so we could be anywhere really. So that's why this collection works so well. I've just done some journaling on the left hand side, and because it didn't show up too well, because I've written on kraft paper rather than white and over an orange dot, I've underlined it with a ruler and a pen just to make it a little bit clearer. Just finishing off with a few splatters of white paint, and that is my layout complete. So there you go. I bet you see viruses now as well, don't you, rather than fireworks. Yeah, okay, so here is the close-ups of the layout. I hope you have enjoyed it. Make sure you check out the Good Stuff collection by Simple Stories. It really is just fabulous. Thank you so much for joining me. That was Nikki Rowland for Simple Stories.